You know that friend who always cancels at the last minute? The one who's suddenly exhausted, mysteriously sick, or texts, maybe next time. Most people assume they're rude, lazy, or antisocial, but what if they're fighting a battle almost nobody can see?
Now, think about yourself. Have you ever felt a strange wave of relief the moment you walked back through your front door? Shoes off, phone on silent. The outside world finally disappears. Why does that tiny moment sometimes feel better than the party you were excited about just hours earlier? Tonight, we're uncovering the hidden psychology of people who genuinely love staying home, not because they're afraid of life, but because their brains may experience the world in a completely different way. And by the end of this video, you'll know whether your love of home is your greatest strength or the first warning sign of something much darker. Modern society celebrates people who thrive on noise. The outgoing coworker, the life of the party, the person whose calendar is always full. And it's easy to assume that's what normal looks like. But your brain may simply be built differently. Psychologists have long suggested that every person has an ideal level of stimulation, a point where the brain functions at its best. And some people naturally seek more excitement because their brains crave additional stimulation, while others reach that point much sooner. If you're in that second group, a crowded restaurant, loud music, constant conversation, and endless notifications don't feel energizing. They feel exhausting. And it's not that you hate people. Your nervous system is simply working harder to process everything around you. That's why home feels different. Home isn't just a place. It's where your brain finally stops defending itself. The silence isn't empty. It's relief. Choosing to stay home isn't always avoiding life. Sometimes it's how your mind recharges. But the real reason goes even deeper. The outside world is unpredictable. Unexpected conversations, traffic, deadlines, social expectations. And even when you're enjoying yourself, your brain is constantly making tiny decisions. Like, how should I respond? Am I saying the right thing? What do people think of me? It's invisible work. At home, that work disappears. You decide the lighting, the temperature, the sounds, the pace, and nothing demands a performance. For people who are naturally sensitive or simply mentally exhausted, that sense of control can feel incredibly calming. And once your brain finally relaxes, something interesting happens. The mental noise begins to settle. Your thoughts become clearer. Ideas connect, memories surface, and problems suddenly seem easier to solve. Many people discover their clearest thoughts not in crowded rooms, but in complete silence. Staying home isn't always doing nothing. Sometimes it's where your mind does its best work. So why do people feel guilty for loving their own space? Because modern culture often sends one message. If you're not constantly going somewhere, meeting someone, posting something, you're wasting your life. But what if your perfect evening is a bowl of soup, a documentary, a book, or simply sitting in silence? That isn't failure, that's self-awareness. But every strength has a shadow. Sometimes people stay home because it restores them. Other times, they stay because leaving feels impossible. Anxiety slowly shrinks the world. Depression steals curiosity. Past experiences convince the brain that safety only exists behind one familiar door. That's the difference you have to notice. One choice expands your life. The other quietly makes it smaller. Home should be a place where you recover, not a place where you disappear. Maybe that's the real secret. The world assumes the loudest people are living the fullest lives. But some minds don't need constant stimulation to feel alive. They need silence because that's where they hear themselves think. The danger isn't loving home. The danger is forgetting why you love it. If home gives you peace, protect it. If home has become the only place you feel safe, pay attention. Because one is a sanctuary and the other is a prison with comfortable furniture. So tonight, ask yourself one uncomfortable question. When you close your front door, are you coming home or are you hiding from a world you've quietly stopped believing you belong in?
Let me know your answer in the comments. And if you enjoy uncovering the hidden psychology behind everyday human behavior, subscribe to Shadow Theory, because sometimes the darkest mysteries aren't hiding in the world around us. They're hiding inside our own minds.